So I've had an ongoing shoulder thing that I've talked about for a while. It was kind of like generalized shoulder, just pain and dysfunction. I figured it was like a frozen shoulder thing. Where just getting achy to even lift up my arm. It was achy to write, to type on a keyboard, drive a car. I was just getting everything. It wasn't even just pure rotator cuff or like hurts after benching or classic shoulder stuff. Over the past year, I did a whole lot of deposits and stacking on my shoulder, from hanging to packing it in, doing a lot of crawls, and to a lot of rotation stuff, arm circles on a wall, 50-50 till they would fall off. A lot of iso holds, like we're gonna do one today. A lot of these short range, iso, high circulation, not a big stretch on the connective tissue. Get the shoulder capsule all around, just circulated without pain. So now, 90% of the time, my shoulder's great. And I want to relate this to you because if you're even just in the back journey, this is what it's going to be like. You get tons of momentum, you have a little dip where you feel something again. You're like, what the fuck? Then it starts to throw you in this loop. Now, if I'm completely brutally honest, since I moved back to New York a month ago, my sleep has tanked, drinking caffeine again, and my eating has been 70% as good. So it's like, all these factors now come into me having an off day of just warming up, and I feel, oh, it's not like thoughtless again. I can feel a little something. One, you could take accountability as to why, but even without those things, that's just how it goes. It's one from a daily pain to then 1 out of every 5 sessions I kind of feel something, to 1 in 3 to 5 months do I ever feel anything, and then probably go years. The same with my back. It was the same exact thing. Every session was pain. Every day of life was pain. Then every leg day was pain. And then it was like I had workaround exercises where I could fix my back, like that Essentials add-on long game program. If you go to the website, we have a full body mini program now. That's the way you start to train legs, keep the back out of it. I could do stuff like that, but every other leg day I'd still have pain. And then months later, after more deposits, it was like once a month I might feel something. And then now, so I had years. Right? So it's that duration of how you're stacking deposits enough that you're making the likelihood of pain showing up very small. Pain is a response that comes after whatever's going on in your body. Pain is a bit of a habit. It literally has pain pathways that are wired in with the neurology of your brain to the nervous system, down to the peripheral nerves, through all the fascia and through the connective tissue that goes to the muscles. Literally, it's all ingrained. You can form a habit of feeling that pain. You change the structure, new habits form to not have to experience that. But it's not like a light switch. You did the right thing, you hit 30 reps, everything's done. It's a dial, slightly less over time. That's why problems creep up on you over time. It was just achiness, but now it's pain. And so, yeah, feeling one of those with my shoulder. And honestly, these days make me fall back into gratitude because I'm just like, wow, I've come a long way. That's something that I didn't do an upper body day truly for like over a year. I really couldn't lift anything. I just watched myself get small. So now I can train 95% of the time and have one day where I'm reminded what it used to be like. That's all good. So it's going to be the same for our back journey, even more like that. That's why play the long game is such an impactful slogan, because if you zoom out, I realized today, even if I don't hit a good weight on this and I don't feel good, it won't matter. My trajectory is good. So get back to it, incline bench. That's the thing, I can't complain. I can't live the type of life I've lived the past couple weeks and be upset that something's not feeling great. It's as heavy as I've ever done for 8 reps, so I guess it's a good day. That PTSD in your first few sets, you're warming up, you're like, oh, I know how this goes. then it ends up being fine. This guy warms up with 185. Just so y'all know, like, you have a back injury, you're feeling confused, how do I work in leg training? It's all difficult. It feels really, really tough. It's such a hard thing to compute, and like, you feel so frustrated. Well, Enoch has had a liver transplant a couple years ago now, and in the byproduct of that, is supposed to take immunosuppressants his entire life, so he's taking immunosuppressants and had a lot of kidney strain from that whole thing. So now you're at a point where like you're suggested to not work out really hard, not eat a lot of protein, because otherwise your creatinine levels will be super high. And if you do go really hard, eat high protein and work out like the volume that we work out, your piss turns brown and you feel like you're actually getting rhabdo, and it really does end up being like a version of that. And so now his workaround is like super athletic, trying to be more athletic, trying to maintain using our body, because you have to. You can't just be like, all right, I'll just be sedentary. Boxing and running and lifting some, but now we're like, okay, can you train lower volume to still get in movements, get the mechanical stress and strain to be adapting still stronger, and you can build muscle, but it won't be like 5 sets of 10, go for the burn, the normal way we do. And even like building muscle on a normal amount of protein, you can. Now where it's even more tricky is like chronic history of shoulder dislocations and trying to rebuild stability. Well, a lot of the rehab work early on does need higher volume. You can't do like a 3 sets of 3 on bench. So that's the meticulous, like if you're ever feeling bad for yourself, we're figuring it out with this type of stuff, and it will work. Long game, constant like trial and error, and then you're gonna, like I was saying yesterday, it feels frustrating because you can't just work out like us. Normally you have to do all this extra thinking, but that's exactly what it was for me, which led to the program. It led to a better way of training. I couldn't just do bench, squat, deadlift forever and be fine. So, you know, it's like, as long as you don't feel defeated and you don't stop showing up, you're gonna figure some shit out eventually.
I have the grit to get after it. Like coming into this space with everyone and like starting this era with you all, I was excited, I was happy, and like things were going good. I'm working out with y'all. I'm starting to like see my body change, and then I get that one tweak in my shoulder, and then I get my labs done, and my labs are saying, hey, you're really not improving. And so it's one thing when you start to see the improvement and low-key feel it, but then you get your doctors writing on paper like, I want you to be mindful of what you're doing right now when you think you're doing the right thing. And so these mornings now with you all have been a little bit harder to like, okay, now I have to reset. And so our idea of the metamorphosis thing, I literally feel like I'm in it because it feels like my muscles are literally deteriorating inside of me, and now I have to find a way to become this new thing through a whole new means. So
yeah, and it's like it's the same thing as the back. Someone's gonna get maybe a little triggered and be like, "You shouldn't be listening to your fake influencer friend over your doctor." That's not what we're saying.
Right.
It's just like the doctor necessarily isn't sitting with him to come up with the most creative strategy to get both. It's like you see them, and I'm sure they're doing a lot of hard work with a lot of people, but it's like they give you the safe advice of just don't do that. That's exactly when you're in the back injury loop, what you get of just don't lift. That's exactly what they say. Now this is more life or death. We take it very serious. We don't just say, oh, wing it. Not at all. I don't think I know more than his doctor does about liver enzymes. It's just the fact that there has to be some middle ground to know how much can you do without setting off a negative reaction. It can't just be do nothing. If the only advice is to be careful, then it's like, where's the line of caution? Where does that start?
And that's what we're figuring out right now.
That's what we're figuring out. And always on the side of hopefully less and not too much. But whatever the situation is, we got our friend Chris in LA that was in stage 4 cancer, and dude was a fucking machine before he got cancer. Lost a shit ton of weight, went through chemo, and was still lifting. We met up with him, and he was like you know, he built a lot of muscle while going through chemo, which wasn't necessarily recommended by some people. But then after surgery, get an insane 27-hour surgery, he lost 60 pounds after that and looks rough. Imagine if he didn't have 60 extra pounds of muscle to start with. And it's like,
They say it saved his life.
yeah, he said it saved his life, but the fact that he built so much body mass, healthy body mass, so that way when he went through the crazy loss of weight, he still held strength and could survive the rehab and recovery of that. So it's like, you know, it's not about ignoring the doctors and just swinging it, no matter what it is, cancer, organ issues, injuries. That's not at all what it's about. It's about always being curious. Go to the doctors, ask 1,000 questions, be as curious as you can. Go back home, look it up, not to try to prove wrong the doctor or ignore what they say, but to just gain more context. Come back with the questions. Keep working a daily effort to a plan. You can't just, it's just your body. You can't just go be told, it's not looking good, don't do that. And you go home and go, okay. And you live in this meat suit the next 40 years and just pretend like that's all it, hell no. What? So, you know, you got to take it in your own hands. Shout out Chris, really inspired by the young guy.
Yeah, much love to Chris.
Yeah.
He's been very inspirational throughout it all too, because when we met, I just kind of recently came off of my surgery, and he was like, there's tumors on my liver too, so I'm probably gonna have like a similar surgery to yours. And then seeing his journey, because he posts about it all the time, seeing his journey, it's like, wow, like I experienced damn near the same exact thing too, and he is going through it, I would say, really well, from the ground up, and his journey's gonna be beautiful. I feel like we both gonna be in the gym one day getting busy, so I'm here for it. I'm dedicated. I have these setbacks, but I'm not demoralized. I'm very like, hey, I'm like more patient to it all, you know? Like I was excited, super excited, and I'm getting these setbacks, so now I'm like, let me just take it day by day and not really be too over the top or too low at all.
Right.
So.
And these are the people that are in your group chats when we're saying play the long game, right? Like we're living the same thing. He's like trying to make sure he doesn't die because he overdoes it and his liver could go through stress, you know. I have something worse, like my shoulder clicks every now and then. That really hurts. You know, I'm really the one going through it, and we're keeping a buck. Like, you know, he's got organ problems, but like sometimes I do this, and I'm like, you know?
For real.
You know, Eddie had a little body dysmorphia because he was round a few months ago, you know.
He's got the true issues.
He had the spine issues.
Bitching.
And we're talking about Chris, you know. And, did you meet Chris? You never did. The dude
I know of Chris.
Yeah. So it's just like, it's all relative. At the end of the day, it all comes back to the idea of like the long game of like being proactive and remaining curious and not getting demoralized long term.
Sure.
You can have a day where you're beat up and you're not feeling it, fine. But like, okay, tomorrow comes. You're going to carry the same energy?
Reset.
Next week, you're going to carry the same energy? Like, yeah.
No, I totally agree.
So everyone's got their own story. They're going to write this injury, this surgery, that surgery, this addiction, this drug, this all the shit that came of the byproduct of like being stuck in a loop, you know. And the comments of people, I've seen it. There's a correlation. People on week 1 when they find my shit and sign up, when they're the type like, this is what I've been waiting for. I knew there was hope. Okay, the whole thing makes a difference. I know I'm gonna heal. I usually get a success story about a year later saying like I'm 80% there and I'm wow. And then when I get the ones of, hey dude, I really don't know if this is gonna work for me. You don't understand. I had a really blah, 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 blah. Like, no, mine is different. They just are still feeling that. 6 months later, it's like their path was more rocky. And a year later, they still aren't like, one, they never fully commit anyways, and they don't handle the setbacks as feedback and data. So their timeline plays out different.
Right.
And it's like a self-fulfilling loop. They're like, well, see, I am unhealable. And it's like, yeah, but something about attitude, I don't know, just
in your mind.
dictates a
It
lot.
really does start in your mind.
Starts in your head for sure. I feel like it's so easy to decide to give up. Like that's like the easiest thing. You go to the program, it's like, oh, a sled? Can't do it. I don't have a sled. How am I supposed to do that? And it's like well, what's next? You got other things on the program. Let's try to get after it. And that's like the same thing for me. Like, it's been 2 years now since my transplant, and the year after it, I fought in a boxing tournament, and I'm like, okay, I can do it. I did it. Dislocated my shoulder in the boxing tournament. I had to start from ground one with that. My liver was good, but now I had to start from ground zero again. And people experience the same thing within the program too. They go into it, the first month or two is like, oh my goodness, I can feel communication with my back again. This is incredible. Flare up, like the starting of month two, and they're like, damn, like all of that excitement is out the window. And like for me, like it may not be the best advice, but when I go through these like dips in progress, I like kind of numb myself to the next day of the work that I have to do. It's like, all right, let's do it. Very, very numb. And then a couple of days pass, my excitement and my joy and celebration comes in the days I'm slightly pain-free or I feel the relief. I'm not excited while working out. I'm very like focused and intentional during the workout, and my celebrations and like relief come after it all. So I feel like it starts in the mind, and yeah, you really gotta dig deep when it comes to these resets. So
Yeah, and not look for a way out. People will be like skeptical so much that the second they find something that doesn't feel perfect for them, they use it as an excuse to fall out. Imagine these stories we said: someone with stage 4 cancer, somebody with an organ transplant, serious spine issues. It's all relative. You may have it way worse. There's always some, but whatever. But you're not alone in what you're going through to some degree, right? So you're hearing all this. You join a program, and then you say, hey, I don't have a back extension. I don't understand what I'm supposed to do. And you live in Texas. You live in a first world country. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. I love you. Shut up. I got Pakistan videos coming in, people in some real shit, building a back. I'm not here to help that person then. And when you're ready, hopefully you will be, then it's like take the attitude of, I don't care what has to be done. I'll sit on the edge of the chair and do the See Good Morning one for ages. I'll lean on the couch. I'll figure something. But what I'm not going to do is sign up for something that, one, you weren't tricked into buying. I didn't sell you. I didn't tell you to pay anything. You're here by choice. And you get to a point where like, oh, it's not perfectly curated for me. I guess I'm not going to heal. Go be injured for the rest of your life. Because we got people that are fucking desperate. And I care for you, but I'm saying that's all you deserve at that state until you rise to a level where you're like, all right, if I want it, I'm gonna get it. and it's at that, and that's where you want to be, you know. And so I get feeling sorry for myself because they've seen me too all the time. We'll start a film day like this. We go to do an exercise. I feel a familiar pain, and then my face goes like this, and I'm like, yo, turn the fucking camera off. I don't want to record or nothing. And now I feel like a fraud and all this shit. So I go through it too sometimes, but just don't make your grave there. Don't make your bed there. Don't decide that's reality. So
we've set it up for people to, if they get into those dips of energy, you have your community to fall back on. You have all of the resources that you provide via IG. You got the YouTube, and you also have the educational resources that we provide, our FAQs. And so a lot of it does take like the extra clicking around and sitting and being patient visually, but there's that bucket where it's patience and you seek out insight, and there's also the patience you have to have for yourself to dig deeper.
Yeah.
So
we're gonna get back to the workout, but you know, just to let you know where we're coming from with all of it, because then it helps understand that we really do care, and it's not just fucking slogans that we're saying, you know. So
I'm gonna be 100% one day, and you're gonna see me kicking their ass on the track in the boxing. It's
gonna have to catch up.
It's just gonna have to.
You're gonna have to catch up.
Because I'm catching up now. You saw
Catching
that video,
up
that
now
one
is
video.
crazy.
Put it on the screen. Put it on the screen. The one video where I passed him. You gotta that's like what's gonna happen here. So
I'll be damned if a man on dialysis ever beats me. He's not on dialysis. All right, play the long game. It's about drive. It's about power. When we say hungry, we devour. I got my DEXA scan. I'm like 11.5% body fat, 185. If I can stay 185 and get to like 8%, I probably need to trade off, lose 5 pounds of fat, gain 7 pounds of muscle. Yeah. This is like the reverse step up of the elbow. Same way we do a little short range, squeezes, builds up the tendon, gets the VMO really protected. Doing just lockout at the triceps. Feels like it builds a certain head that feeds into the elbow tendon pretty well. Helped with the tricep tendonitis I was having. Real light, but just like 30 good reps. Good squeeze. One cue, if I was coaching someone, I usually grab the wrist and pull out. So imagine that yourself, someone's pulling your arms far out, it's not up. So that gives you a little bit more. The difference is your scapula is gonna be able to rotate on your rib cage if you do that. If you keep your shoulders tucked in tight and try to go up, you get a squeeze, but it's not the same trap engagement if you let the scapula roll on your rib cage because you're reaching versus tucked in, just stiff in the back and arm up, let it go, and you're gonna have to engage low traps way more. So you reach out as you go up. Jordan, how much run time is left? People go way too heavy on this. I can do 20 pounds, I've done it. I definitely could do 15, these are 10s. The difference what you can do and what you should do is probably pretty significant on the ones that can be highly compensated. You can just front raise it, start turning the arms in, do a front raise, you'll never ever feel your mid back, low back. So start with body weight, go 2.5. A lot of days I do just 5 pounds even. I'm feeling strong, so I'll do 10 today, but just because I can do more doesn't mean I have to. Doesn't mean I should. So. So to make it easier, stand up taller, put the hand higher, make it tougher, step your feet back. I still want like a shorter range. You can make it harder by doing this and you go deeper. It's not bad. It's just now a deep range. Sometimes I'll do that, but today I'm trying to keep a short range just for the squeeze. So I still keep the hand at about eye level, maybe a little higher. Start with 2 arms. If you get 2 arms for 30, put it a little lower, get on the toes, lean more of your weight into it, that's good. Restart single arm. You get very little bit of core too. A dynamic plank, it's a good starting point. Doing some incline curl. Not a crazy deep incline. I really like these, but it's the same thing of like these long range exercises. If I did really deep incline curls, that's the only way I curled for over a year. I started to get that shoulder pain because the bicep feeds into the shoulder. It was overstretching the bicep tendon and I was never doing a squeeze. So sometimes I'm working in like a stretch again to get that. I think it's really good. And sometimes I'm doing normal curls still. So slowly bringing in these deeper ranges in my shoulder. See my old videos I've done, I'll put it on the screen, Jay, I'll send it to you. External rotation lockout, but laying down, so it's a shorter squeeze. So now I'm working isos at a slightly deeper stretch of the rotator cuff. So I'm going about 30 seconds, 15 pounds, at like a middle range iso hold. So I was just up here where there's no stretch, just burn and pump. Really, really tough. Now I'm doing a little bit more. Then I'm gonna get to a lighter range, actually doing concentric, eccentric, doing actual range of motion again, light. But again, all the good exercises that you may have come across that train parts of the joints, I have overdone, so you don't have to. I have done only Nordics for my hamstrings for 2 years. Got so good at Nordics, tore something behind my knee, I could barely even flex my knee for a year, couldn't run. Only trained my rotator cuff with this super deep external rotation, full range of motion for 2 years, frozen shoulder, chronic achiness, couldn't bench press, couldn't do a push-up for a whole year. So when you only train these sensitive areas through full range, it's good, you start to build strength. But if you don't balance it with the squeeze in the shorter ranges, you start to eventually overwear on the connective tissue if you're not matching it. There's nothing wrong with full range. Of course that's needed, but you also still need strength training that's not in the deep ranges. So you need to be able to get a pump and contraction without it always stretching. It's hard to recover from that. So yeah, behind the knee I had that, back to shoulder I had that. Even the low back, if you only do Jefferson curls, only do deep range in the spine, but you don't keep iso holds, usually people end up with sensitivity. Keep both, long and short range, and even isos. Keep range of motion, keep isos. Couldn't even do curls because my shoulder was cooked. All right, so we're at that section, long game. If this is your first video of mine, what we do at the end of every video, I ask you to comment long game, tell me your age, your name, your story, where you're at, what your back journey is like. And the reason why is because I know what it's like to be trying to scour for resources and videos. And I hope that my video is the first of its kind that you've come across, that it's not just a one-off quick fix for your low back, Band-Aid bullshit. 30-second stretch, do this for about a little bit. Hit one of those for a second, you know? We don't do that. We try to give you the complete mental shift and the complete long-term plan to solve your own back problems by becoming your own back expert. So because of that, if you make it to 30 minutes deep into a vlog, then I know for sure you're soaking it all up, trying to learn as much as you can. And I want to celebrate those people and start to get to know you guys, start to learn stories, start to be familiar with some of the names in the comment sections. You guys may think I don't remember some of you, but if you are semi-consistent and positive, I do recognize the same people in here and I appreciate it, even amongst the trolls. So today's long game we'll probably go through two. We got Meteo Rain V said, long game, I had backache when I was just putting shoes on and I had two choices, either fix the problem or keep complaining about it for the rest of my life. I've been going to the gym for 6 months now and for the first time in my life. Your videos have helped me to understand that I shouldn't avoid the problem but to address it. I don't follow your training program or anything like that. Well, that's where you messed up. I listen to my body and choose right training for the right moment. I no longer ache, but there's a ways to go. Thank you for the content and inspiration. I'm happy for you. That's fire. That's what it's about. I think my biggest value is to get you on the mental shift. But I think also make sure you're training your low back sustainably and progressively over time. And that is all laid out, lowbackability.com. You can pick the price that you want. I'm always gonna promo it because it has never existed before. And we just made our version 2. The site has new updates. The layout's different. We got new programs. So there's a full body essentials program where you can fix your back and train legs and upper body. But of course you never need to do that. Just keep training the low back. Look for your weaknesses, look for the imbalances, look for the sensitivities, and see the entry point of how do you slowly stimulate that over time. So that's huge, man. We're really happy for you. Thank you for sharing. It's always good to hear a good win like that. Let's find another one right here. I got David at David C73. Long game. David from Italy. I injured my back while heavy trap bar deadlifting. I have a L1, L2 herniated disc. I had symptoms but ignored it at first until one day I woke and couldn't do 10 pounds farmer walks without feeling my disc exploding, compressing by the nerve. Any little compression on my spine was uncomfortable. Even a friend putting a hand on my shoulder during a hug could lead to nerve pain. When I looked for information on the internet, the first thing I read was disc cartilage cannot heal. I thought I was fucked. This is really important. And my back would only become worse with time. I couldn't even help my mom with groceries. I felt like I was disabled, especially when I saw 70-year-olds being able to carry more weight than me. In the same period, I also tore my ACL, and in the time period of 1 month, I passed from being able to deadlift more than 250 to not being able to hold potatoes. It was a real change. I was desperate, but my mental health was changing. At first, I started with McGill Big 3, and you can imagine the process I had. But I was really lucky to find you immediately after. I started your training with back extensions, and 4 months in, I'm 80% good. After 1 year, I'm almost 100%. But I made a mistake. I started to skip every other exercise. Trap 3, pull over, skip the hip exercises, and then 2 months ago, I started to have sciatica symptoms and a couple serious flare-ups where I couldn't walk. Before, I didn't have any of these issues, even with the disc. This is the moment I realized the long game process. I started again with the LBA program, but this time I started to follow it to a T without skipping or adding an exercise or a set from the one you programmed. And at the same time, I listened to my body to not do excessive work. I never comment on videos, but I think that this comment can be a great opportunity to tell people that you have to follow the full program and not skip anything. To be a blessing is rare, to be a hero even rarer. You've been both, and I'm endlessly grateful. Thank you in the name of Christ for being his hands and heart when we needed them most, Brandon. Ended up saying Brandon at the end after that. But man, there's a lot in there. David, man, we appreciate it. The kindness goes a long way for me. It makes me feel warm inside, genuinely. That's why I do it. And if we go to your story, there's a lot of wisdom in it that you can pull back. So the most alarming thing that I can relate to that I know people need to hear again is this part where you said, I hurt my disc, I had nerve pain, and when I looked for information on the internet, the first thing I read was, disc cartilage can't heal. I thought I'm fucked, and back pain will only get worse over time. This is the main problem with the way we view spinal breakdown, and we are led to try to fix these issues. We have these absolute cause and effect viewpoints that we don't necessarily think about what leads to it, what is within our control. We only think about the traditional stats of what tends to happen. So with age, the spine tends to break down more and more over time. But most people don't progressively train their back and stimulate it more and more over time. So that stat doesn't have to apply to you. Even things like disc walls cannot heal. Well, if you dig deeper into more recent research, you can see that certain loads on the spine can cause adaptation to the annular fibrosis, the outer wall of the disc. The disc walls already heal after you injure them. It's scar tissues. That is a automatic healing response. Now, the nature of your injury, was it severe herniation? Was it extrusion? Was it popping out? Did it completely tear the disc wall? Did it not? All those things are individual, but even then, it doesn't necessarily matter. Build everything that you can around, whether it's just the large muscles to the small muscles, reinforce the ligaments, put some tolerable stimulus to the actual disc walls. When I'm doing the Jefferson curl, I'm doing some weighted back extension deep. All the discs are going under some kind of strain. You could say that it's better to completely avoid any use on the disc. And that's just not how the body tends to work. There's a saying, I think it's Benjamin Franklin, that a used key never develops rust. Right? Well, a used disc never develops herniation. That's just not the truth. I'm going to stop with the cute saying. Don't laugh, Jordan. I'm staying focused. But avoidance is not a sustainable solution, as we know. When you look up these things about what will happen to you with time, you'll see, well, cartilage shouldn't be able to regrow. The ligaments, if they've been too lax or get torn, they shouldn't go back to the normal sort of tautness that they held, the tightness. If there's breakdown of the bones, that's a one-way street. Now, the thing is, no one's done research studies on what happens to disc when you gently stimulate them directly with sheer force on the back extension for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. It just hasn't been studied because no one tells you to even do that. So whether or not you could fix your disc wall, it doesn't even matter. The chance of you becoming asymptomatic with no sign of injury is very, very high if you can find the right amount that doesn't punish you, but you can progress a little bit more, your sensitivity decreases, the amount that you do increases, and you keep being gentle and listening to your body, but don't be afraid and avoid it. Miracles tend to happen somehow. And so I think what we research will change over the next decade because new approaches are going to come out like this. And because of that, our dead-end viewpoints of, oh, you're screwed, oh, you're never going to heal that, is going to be a different Google result when you search that up. So I'm glad that you didn't just stick with the first thing you read because that's where people just tend to give up. That's where I was at, you know. Same, I had a sports hernia. I've had certain injuries that once you get it, they basically tell you, if it's been many, many years, here, you want the keys? He's good. Once it's been 3 to 6 months and you still have symptoms with a sports hernia, that tear is still there, you're going to need surgery. If it was going to heal with time, you would know after 3 to 6 months. I had pain for 2 years with my deep tear in my ab wall. And it wasn't until I tried a new approach 2 years later, very progressive, directly to it, strengthening it with squeeze, gently stretching. I would get some flare-ups, but I'd have to work through it long term. Then now I can sprint full speed. I never have any kind of radiating nerve pain anywhere in my groin. I got no symptoms stretching it. It doesn't feel like it's tearing, but the tear is still there. I just reinforced everything around it. So I'm rambling. But, you know, that biggest switch of getting back hope isn't just meant to be baseless, feel-good shit. It's just for you to know we are so early in studying the body still. New approaches haven't been used at scale, so we don't research new shit yet, so we don't have new conclusions. We're not asking the right questions. So just be open-minded that healing could be more possible than you think. You might as well be delusional in that direction versus being realistic and I'm living with this forever. So that's our long game section for the day. I appreciate y'all tagging along. We got our event tour. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm going to mention it every video. East Coast on the US. We got the link in the description to this video. All the states, all the way from New York, all the way down to Florida. We're hitting the city every few days. So that's the end of August and September. That's always a fun 5-hour full workshop. You get to meet us, work out. We'll train with y'all, chat with y'all. You know, it's a beautiful thing. So appreciate y'all dearly. If you need anything, you know, hit us up however you can. We got Discord. That would be the preferred way. You got DMs, you got emails, but yeah, keep going. Appreciate y'all. Play long game.